Hello everyone, welcome to the British Obstacle Sports 2022 AGM. So glad for you to join us. My name's James Burton. I sit on the British Obstacle Sports Board and I will chair today's AGM. I'm going to run through a few technical considerations. Please begin by typing your name in the chat box for yourself and anyone else who's a member that you're with. We'll use that for the AGM minutes after the AGM. We want to make sure it's all accurately recorded. It's going to last 2 hours. We've muted participant lines to reduce noise disruptions. When we go through the resolutions, obviously, if you do want to speak at that point, please unmute yourself. If you're experiencing any issues during the AGM, please email membership@britishobstaclesports.org. And please note this meeting is being recorded. So, call to order. Our quorum is 30 members. It's always a little anxious waiting for everyone to join because we can't actually have an AGM without at least 30 members. But we have 30 members, so thank you all for joining. This meeting is therefore quorum and we can get going. Firstly, I always want to take a moment when we meet with everyone just to remind everyone of our mission is to ensure that everyone in the UK can enjoy the endless possibilities of obstacle sports. And I really hope today you're going to see kind of all the hard work from all the volunteers at British Obstacle Sports and the work that's been done since our last AGM. So very quickly, agenda-wise, Oner's going to kick us off very shortly. We'll then get through the formal business of the AGM resolutions. We've then got a packed agenda talking through recognition updates, committee updates, partner updates. We'll give a snapshot of where we are from a ballot perspective if we've got time, Q&A, and then we'll talk about 2023 and beyond, and probably quite a few of you are excited to see who's going to win the ultimate season pass, and we'll end on that. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Oner Avara, our president and chair of the board.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, James. Good evening, everyone. And thank you very much for joining us today for our British Obstacle Sports Federation AGM on 12th of December 2022. It's lovely to see you all. 3.5 years ago, when we decided to create this federation, we knew it would work with the right people, but we weren't sure whether we could find the right people or not. So I'm now looking at my screen and see nothing but many amazing sportsmen and women who have been volunteering for this federation since the beginning. I can proudly say that we have achieved a lot within a very short period of time, despite the pandemic, and all from now on, it can only be better. You have seen over the 3.5 years, we have elected our board of directors, established all the committees, including OCR and Ninja technical committees, coaching, technical officials, clubs, athlete committees, and many more, which you will hear later on about their amazing work. Apart from creating a functional national federation for the sport obstacle in the country and changing our branding and our name to British Obstacle Sports this year, thanks to the board members and the partners, we had our first national junior OCR championships, where we have seen our top junior athletes throughout the country. Then first British Ninja Championship, which was also a great event. We now have planned, which you will see on our website, next year events, signed partnership agreements with race directors and organizers, hoping to take our national team to European and World Championships next year. We also signed partnership agreements with our partners for the insurance and kits for our athletes. I'm sure you all heard about the partnership with the Spartan race, which also you will hear later on. And lots of other agreements are on the way. One of the biggest achievements that we had last year was from the obstacle sports point of view, is that International Modern Pentathlon Federation has accepted the obstacle sport as their 5th discipline, currently pending for IOC approval, which we have participated as a Team UK in the first event took place in Ankara in last June. This means obstacle sports will be included in the Olympic sport Olympic program after the 2024 Paris Olympics. It's only 2 years away. The athletes we have seen in our Swanbourne Junior Championships and many more up-and-coming junior athletes and youth athletes around the country are our potential candidates who will bring medals by representing our country in the international Olympic events. How amazing is that? So these are the kind of things that we are hoping to see with this improvement from the modern pentathlon point of view. I mentioned this before many times, but this is all about teamwork. We couldn't be able to do without all these work without you. The entire idea was building a future for our athletes, our youth, our children who will benefit from this sport and this organization and the community. And we all know that this is not one person's job. And certainly this federation not belongs to one person. This is what you, athletes, coaches, technical officials, race directors, volunteers, marshals collectively produced, not only for yourself, but also for many generations to come. This federation is built on integrity. It is not mine or anybody else's private company, not belong to one person or group of friends or a family. It belongs to obstacle sports community. It belongs to you. We always made sure checks and balances are in place. Integrity, diversity, and inclusion are all our non-negotiable topics. As a competitive athlete, coach, and a club owner myself, who enjoys giving back to the community through the sport, I had the vision of making this federation one of the mainstream sports federation in the UK and make sure it serves the purpose of progressing the athletes and developing a grassroots obstacle sports in the country. I did it for the sport and sportsmen and women and youngsters, even though I am from a different sports background. Because sport is the greatest equalizer. Some of us punch, some of us run, some jump or kick. We all share the same fundamentals, which is compete and respect each other, away from politics, religion, race, or ethnicity. It was how we started and how we are still running in the same way. We raised some eyebrows in the past, drew some attention of some skeptical people, especially when we mentioned partnership with the race directors or other event organizers. We didn't give up. We carried on talking to them, explained that we are not a threat. We are simply here to develop the sport infrastructure. Well, as you all know, we signed a partnership with Spartan Race last month. So this is one of the biggest achievements we have done as a federation, which I'm sure my colleagues will explain later on. Some of you will remember when I asked for your help to create the board of directors, committees and subcommittees, I mentioned that I am on a mission to create a well-managed federation which represents you and the sport obstacle in the UK. I also mentioned whenever the time comes and everyone is confident with the management of this great organization, I will step down and carry on my job if needed as a director or chair of committee wherever I'm needed. Well, it's time to let you and your representatives take over and run it the way it should be. I strongly believe that you are in safe hands of James Burton, who has been very dedicated all these years to take this federation from strength to strength, along with other board members and members of committees. I'm of course still acting as an elected director and still at your service wherever my assistance needed. I would like to thank every one of you who helped me through this journey, which was very pleasant, and I look forward to meeting you face to face at upcoming events. Thank you.
Thank you, Oner. Yeah, I think I should just add to that. Hopefully, obviously, we get approval from the resolutions for the board exchange, but really grateful for all of your work up to now and what you'll continue to give to British Obstacle Sports. I think actually with some of the legacy prior to British Obstacle Sports, it actually needed someone from outside the sport to get things going again. And hopefully everyone will see today, we continue to grow and develop, and really, really exciting future for the sport as we move into 2023 and beyond. So yeah, just want to again pass on our thanks on behalf of everyone for all your support and continued support. We're going to jump in now to the AGM resolutions. So this we've got 4 resolutions. They a few less than last year. It is a formal process we have to follow, so please do bear with me as we go through. We thank you all for taking the time to review the information previously, and I think it's probably worth pointing out to some of you, some of the information in these different resolutions may be a bit unfamiliar, the terminology. There's quite a lot of legal information in the Articles of Association. It's actually quite often why federations are founded and structured around clubs rather than individuals at a national federation level. But as I'm sure you'll probably agree, from a club perspective in obstacle sports, we're not really at that stage to be using the club structure, maybe in the future. So it was really important from a trust and integrity perspective that we gave all the members the opportunity to vote on every kind of key decision, and those key decisions in terms of electing the board, our constitution, financial reports, minutes. So yeah, that's why it goes out to every single member that's out there. Always ask questions if you're unsure. We're here to help, but ultimately, these decisions are being made by our members. Voting procedure. So all eligible members have been sent ballot details to your registered email address in order to vote. This is the only way to vote, and once your ballot is cast, it cannot be changed. You have until 8:15 p.m. today to cast your vote. If you haven't voted yet, obviously you still can. Quite often, if you search for election runner in your email, that should get you to it, and then you can click on a link and vote. If you're still struggling, Lindsay has the British Obstacle Sports login. If you message British Obstacle Sports on the Zoom chat, she'll be able to give you a direct link as well to vote. So yeah, thank you. And again, we'll go through the resolutions now, and you have until 8:15 p.m. today to cast your votes. So the first vote, Resolution 1, the 2021 AGM minutes were sent to all members by email in advance of this meeting. Would like to ask, are there any questions, comments, or corrections to those minutes, please? Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to move on to the second resolution. As I say, feel free to jump in at any point here if you do have a comment. Resolution 2, approve the British Obstacle Sports financial accounts for the financial year 2021 to 22. Again, these were sent to all members by email in advance of this meeting. I am going to pass to Alex Young, our chair of the Finance Committee, for a quick update on the financial reports. But please do, after that, jump in with any questions or comments. Hopefully, Alex, I've got you there.
Thanks, James. You have. Just to provide a bit of detail, you've obviously seen these accounts already for yourselves, but we can see that the turnover for the year ended 2022 has increased to £10,816 from £8,306 last year, and that's largely to do with the good work that you've all done in getting more members to come on board. We haven't had the equipment sales of rec bags that we had last year, which added to our turnover. And one of the reasons that our turnover has increased so much is that we've got a different policy of recognising the turnover. So we now, as you pay your membership fees, it's recognised at that point in time rather than spread over the period in which it relates, so the next year. We've also had one other change of policy, accounting policy, that we need to let you know about, which is previously we recognised the future costs. We aren't a business, we don't make a profit. All this money goes to support obstacle sports in the UK, and therefore we'd put in a provision of 1,597 last year to recognise that. That's now reversed this year, and we have a net profit of 9,858. But actually, it's just a different way of showing that that's just money we have there for the future to spend on British Obstacle Sports. I think that's about it, other than to say the business is looking healthy. We have a fair bit of money in the bank, and that has enabled us to put on the British Junior Championships today, and also fund the initial costs for the membership insurance. I think you'll hear about a few other things from James and others later as to what we're looking to do in the future and what that money will go to fund. But thank you very much, and back to James. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask in the chat.
Yeah, please. Well, please do, unmute and ask any questions on the financial reports. Otherwise, we'll move on to resolution 3. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Resolution 3, adopt and approve the updated British Obstacle Sports Articles of Association. So we spent a lot of time last year forming these articles with a lot of input from the UK sports councils and various people from a legal point of view and members of the community. So these are just updates essentially that we felt were relevant with a year on. So to highlight very quickly, legal updates to reflect the move to British Obstacle Sports. We would now be known as British Obstacle Sports Limited after this approval. There's some small definition updates just to help explain the articles. We've got 2 updates to our objectives: develop pathways from mass participation up to world-class British athletes, and represent our members at FISO, which was already in there, and the European Obstacle Sports Federation meetings and elections. We have made updates to our member eligibility and subscription to reflect how we operate, and also to introduce life membership class. So at our next AGM, we're going to be quite excited to announce our first life members, essentially, and these will be kind of key members, British Obstacle Sports members, and they'll be members for life, as it suggests. And then based on that, there's updated duties at an AGM. We've increased the notice for member resolutions from 10 days to 21 days. This is simply to allow us, because we give formal notice out at 14 days, I believe. It's to allow us to ensure any member resolutions are included in that formal notice, and there doesn't need to be an additional update to our members. And then clarification that the chair of the board is also the president. May I ask if anyone has any questions or comments on the Articles of Association, please? Okay, thank you. Final resolution. This is, as was mentioned earlier, approve a board role exchange with James Burton resigning as elected director and being reappointed as chair of the board, and Oner Avara resigning from his position of chair of the board and being reappointed as elected director for the remainder of their 2-year term. Can I ask if anyone has any questions or comments for Oner or I? Okay, thank you. That is official business complete. So we've now got an hour and 39 minutes, hopefully, to power through. We've got quite a lot of slides to cover. So whereas before we wanted you all to jump in if you needed to, now if you do have any questions on any of the slides, please just put them into the comments and chat, and we will cover those hopefully if we've got time at the end. Full packed schedule. So we're going to dive straight in with an update on the rules of the sport. And we've got Beth Lodge on our Ninja Sport Technical Committee and Becky Neal on our OCR Technical Committee. Do we have Beth there?
Apologies for the cat. She's got a cold and cuddles. So,
Beth, I don't know if is it just me, but you're really quiet.
We can't hear you, Beth.
let me see what I can do about my microphone. Is that any better?
You're
Much
good to
better.
go. Thanks,
Perfect.
Beth.
Okay, so as James mentioned, Becky and I have been working on the rules of the sport for both the OCR side and the Ninja side. So we've been going through and sort of defining the various types and the rule book was published earlier this year. So it's just sort of to give some guidance about the different types of competitions and ways of engaging with the sport. So if we go on to the next slide. For ninja sport, we've documented 6 different
You've gone quiet a bit again, sorry.
I'll see if I can move a bit closer. How's that?
Yep.
Okay. So for the ninja sport, we've got 6 different styles. We've got the furthest fastest, which is the sort of initial form of ninja. So whoever gets the furthest along the course in the least amount of time will be the winner, and it sort of goes backwards from there. And once you fall, that's it. We also have points based. So every obstacle you complete is assigned a point, and you can keep going and try and accrue as many points as you can throughout the whole course. And that'll be totted up once you get to the end. We've got the time trial. So the aim is to complete the course as fast as you can, and you can have multiple attempts at that if the venue allows. And we've got the head-to-head, which is how the Race for Glory Ninja Warrior UK season 6 this year it sort of debuted, and where you race against another person. And then we have 2 team formats. One is the leg relay, where the team is split up and does different sections of the course, and then the lap relay, where each person takes turns to do the course. So I'm going to pass over to Becky now.
Thanks, Beth. So for the benefit of our new members, these are our existing obstacle course racing formats. So we have sort of classic or cross-country obstacle course racing, where you have a mass start and it's a race to the line, and you have to cover the obstacles as part of a longer distance run. Similarly, a short course follows a similar format, but there may be a need for multiple waves, as the course might be shorter and smaller in terms of the capacity of athletes on there. Slightly different from that is a time trial, in which you will run individually against the clock. We sometimes use that to seed athletes in other events. So athletes will be ranked based on their time to complete the course and any associated penalties. You might have seen the head-to-head format as well. So some of these titles are similar to in Ninja, but the formats are of course involve more running in these obstacle course races compared to Ninja. So you might have already considered or completed a time trial and then go into a knockout round and have a head-to-head race where the winner may stay and then move on to the next round. And then there's also furthest fastest. So in the sense for OCR, that's more like doing an ultra or a multiple lap race, where you try and achieve the greatest distance or cover the most course in a set time and as quickly as possible. But we are going to add some new events or formats within OCR for 2023. So something that an alternative kind of event that a lot of people already love and complete within OCR is a mud run. So more of a cross-country race with some kind of severe terrain or very technical terrain, perhaps more mud and water on a course, but fewer obstacles than what we used to in a classic or cross-country OCR. So we're going to incorporate that. You also might have noticed the 100 meters this year. So this is still within OCR. You still have to cover and run between the obstacles and complete them as fast as possible across a set course. We're also going to include the para edition that will be incorporated, and James is going to cover more on that later. And we're also allowing space for kind of new events, new ideas that perhaps don't fit the mold of all of these other formats, to allow for innovation and creativity, which is one of our purposes to protect as British Obstacle Sports. So things like the Spartan Games that we know about, things like that might fit into this kind of category. So we're also going to change the age groups. So just how we decide which age group you fall into. So this will change to be based on your age on the December the 31st. That is the same way that Spartan, our partner, does. So hopefully that's not too much of a change for many of you. And next slide.
Thanks, Becky. And I think it's also, yeah, the World Obstacle use date birth on December 31st. So we'll just keep going in line from a world perspective. I'm hoping that we have Shaun with us. He was coming back via train with some delays. So if he's not going to speak now,
Yes, just
Oh,
literally
thank
just
you,
come
Shaun.
through the door.
Oh, wow. So Shaun was has done a variety of different roles, from coaching and officiating, and he was the inaugural head official at the fifth discipline test event. So just going to give you a very quick update on modern pentathlon and some of the work that's been happening there.
Cool. Can't remember the slides. Yeah, to go to that one. Yeah, so there's some interesting views out on Facebook and on the internet in terms of what pentathlon is and what it isn't in the context of using the obstacle discipline. But fundamentally, it's going to replace the equestrian event or the equestrian discipline in the Olympics if that gets passed in 2028. However, we will be moving straight into this. Particularly, we've got the UK Championships in Bath in August, and at the junior level, the obstacle discipline will be used in Bath. So the federations are now scrambling around to get some support from various people around how they develop their athletes, the junior athletes in readiness for these events. So this all sits under the UIPM, the International Federation for Modern Pentathlon, and the various national federations. So we're working with Pentathlon GB, for example. I'm also doing some work with Pentathlon Ireland. But it's not OCR. It's similar to OCR short course. It's a 65-metre event, very similar to the 100-metre event. We've trialled a variation of obstacles. You can see the one there in Turkey. That was 9 obstacles. We did another one in Manila. I wasn't at that one, but that was 10 obstacles. And the 100-metre variant is 12 obstacles. So you get there are big crossovers, different variations. That still needs to get agreed in terms of exactly what they will use at the World Championships and at a future Olympics. But it's going to be in and around 10 obstacles. It's going to be short. It's in and around between 65 and 100 meters. It tends to be a head-to-head similar to Ninja in terms of the format when it's run. I'm going to be working with Pentathlon GB in January to work out the point system as well. So we're looking at that from an official's point of view, because there's quite a complicated point system that comes through as you move through to the final event, which is a laser run. So you typically do the 3 previous events and then into the double event, which is laser run. And then people are then offset as they set off on the 3,000-meter course. And every 600 meters, they stop to take 5 shots with the laser pistol. So how that point system is going to work, I'm going to be closer to that mid-January when I go down to Bath with Pentathlon GB to work that out, and how that would work at the championships in August in Bath. But just to be clear, it's not OCR. It's similar to OCR short course. It's an extra thing that we're doing, and it won't be at the Olympics if it gets passed until 2028. It's an exciting thing. It doesn't come under World Obstacle, it comes under UIPM. So we're supporting, like in athletics, there's running in various events in triathlon and in modern pentathlon. So you can go into modern pentathlon as a run coach, for example, and work with the pentathletes in developing their running ability. You might further develop your skills and learn to, or teach the athletes to shoot the pistol as part of that running. So you can do that type of thing. So if you've got junior athletes that are interested in it, it's a great avenue for them. It's an Olympic sport they can get into quite early. Hopefully this will put obstacle racing on the map. So we might have an OCR event on Olympics after that, because people like the look of obstacle racing generally through the sport of modern pentathlon. And just one more point before I finish. Modern pentathlon is an interesting name because a lot of the athletes that compete actually don't do the pentathlon, the 5 event versions. There are also duathlons, tetrathlons, triathlons, combinations of the 5 sports. So this is something else that we can look at moving forward. For example, we could do a laser run plus obstacle event, like a triathlon. It'd be really interesting. It could be on track, it could be cross-country running. So we could include swimming and make it a tetrathlon. It doesn't have to include all of the events. I think the biggest barrier to entry to the sport is probably through fencing, quite a technical, complicated thing to learn. But on speaking to the coaches in Turkey, anything between 2 and 4 years is a typical pathway to get someone at a level where they can compete competitively at a championship level in pentathlon. So if you've got young athletes interested in this, do get them involved, because they can learn to use the épée and learn to fence. The swimming's relatively straightforward. It's freestyle, 200 meters, so it's more about technique and fitness. So it's a great sport for young athletes to get into. Or like me, you older people, if you want to get into it, you can do it as well, obviously. So it's a great string to our bow to go along with all of the other things that James and everyone else has been talking about so far. Any questions, again, drop them in the chat and I'll try and answer them the best I can. And I'll give you updates through next year as we start to engage the various national federations on a coaching level and on an officiating level.
Thank you, Shaun. Yeah, I think it just adds if our missions to embrace those endless possibilities of our sport, just another kind of bow, like you say, in all the different variations of what we could do as athletes. I'm going to go into recognition now. This is part kind of fundamentally why we exist, I guess, as a federation, to get recognition so we can really start to help and grow the sport with access to funding and support from the sports councils. I'm going to give you a bit of a traffic light system of our application status. So I think I may have mentioned at the last AGM, but for everyone's awareness, it's built into 2 stages with the sports councils. We submit a pre-application, and then we have 12 months to submit a full application for recognition. As you can see here, we are pretty much green light from a pre-application perspective. It's just membership that's blocking us from submitting our pre-application, and we'll talk about that after this. There's still a lot of work to do from a full application perspective. There's a lot of things we have in place already. We've got conflict of interest processes in our constitution, and we run them. We've got finance and accounting protocols already, and data protection processes. I've got a lot of experience from my IT background in terms of data protection, but the sports councils have a very high standards, as you would expect. So we've got to kind of go that next level on all of these kind of bits of documentation to prove that we are a governing body that's fit for purpose and has the right to be recognised and has the right to apply for funding. So there's a lot of work to do, but really, really pleased with the work that's been made already. And as you can see here, some of the areas are already green light in terms of what's been done already. So OCR competition really progressed, coach development, technical officials. So we are in a good place. We want to start that pre-application. I think a lot of the things will fall into place in terms of policies and things like that afterwards. So yeah, membership. So we started relatively slowly. We had a big dip at the start of the year because we had a lot of members in 2021 were free members from 2020. We extended membership to the end of 2021. So as you can imagine, a lot of people during COVID changed sports, changed lifestyles, and didn't necessarily stick with obstacle sports. So we had a big dip, and we've managed to slowly grow as a sport and as a membership base over the year. And we've had a massive growth in the last 2 months, down to 3 factors, 4 factors actually. One, the ultimate season pass has drawn a lot of people into the sport. Thank you to everyone's support in promoting membership and growing our base that way. Secondly, the British Ninja Championships brought a lot of ninja athletes into the federation. The British OCR Junior Championships, that was almost 100 new members through the Junior Championships. And then finally, our partnership with Spartan has brought in a lot of new members from the Spartan world. So welcome to all of you who have recently joined. 30% growth in the last 2 months. So if we can keep that trajectory going into 2023, we can really start to realize the 650 membership target, which we need to start our pre-application. Word of caution: renewals. All memberships have a drop-off. Actually, the kind of pretty standard drop-off rate is 30%. So we need to continue to accelerate our membership growth, because we will lose people as we go through the year. And we've got 760 renewals next year. The good news is we've built, for everyone's hard work, quite a substantial set of member benefits. We've got personal accident insurance that came in June that we didn't have that before. That gives you basic accident insurance at all affiliated events and training centers. We've got quite a few discounts now. Member prizes, we're always giving away different things from events. I think we've given away now maybe close to £5,000 worth of of prizes since we first started giving away prizes. It's pretty substantial, only given away to members. So we don't do any giveaways to outside of the membership because we want to reward membership. You compete at Spartan now as a member. You can race at national and international championships, compete in the UK OCR and Scottish OCR series, and as a member you're engaged in the sport and you get to vote and attend AGMs. We do need to raise our membership costs. This is due to insurance going up next year potentially. So this will be a review in June, but we need to, from a constitutional perspective, publish our membership costs at the AGM, essentially. So current prices will be held until at least March 31st, including the 2 years at £25 for adults and 2 years at £8 for supporters and juniors. As I say, if our insurance doesn't go up, or the personal accident insurance for membership, we're very likely to maintain our current prices because obviously we want to get as many people in as possible. But just to kind of communicate this price increase that may come in place should our insurance premiums go up next year, but hopefully they won't. So 3 things you can do to help in terms of recognition and developing the federation. One is renew your membership early. You can get the best price, inflation beating prices if you renew your membership early, and it will always extend from the date it's due for renewal. So if it's due for renewal on March 31st, 2023, and you extend it, it will be extended from that date, not from the date you paid your membership fee. Continue to spread the word. We're growing merchandise. We're getting the merchandise out there. So buy a top, share about British Obstacle Sports on Facebook, Instagram, social networks, etc. Share the love of the sport. The more people that know about it, the more people will get engaged and involved. We really want to build a strong community for obstacle sports and continue to be a strong sport and grow our sport. And finally, volunteer. There's many ways to volunteer. You could volunteer at an event stand, at an event. You could volunteer on a committee. You could volunteer as kind of one of the functions, like on the web editing, marketing, or even just an administrative task. Just so many small little tasks that need to get done, but they add up. But if we get many people involved taking small tasks, it makes light work of all the jobs. So they're the 3 ways. I'd love to kind of get everyone's support. But first and foremost, membership is number 1. So thank you all for being members and hopefully continuing to be members in the future. Going to jump on to committee updates now. Just to give a very quick reminder of our organisational structure. We have a board, which is supported by 2 technical committees, Ninja Sport and OCR, and there's representation from both those technical committees on the board with Ali Hay from Ninja Sport and Becky, Neal from OCR. We then have projects that are split across both sport and disciplines as well. So we have the recognition application, we have rules of sport, and we have multiple joint governance committees with members from Ninja Sport and OCR sit on, and we'll hear about those shortly. We then, just like any other organisation, there's business functions as well that need support from marketing, web, membership, data protection, etc. So this is the organisation. At the last AGM, you gave authority to this board, you elected this board. So essentially, this board gives delegated responsibility to the committees. But the decisions are made and various decisions are made, and it's a very active board. We're constantly on Slack, sharing information, voting on decisions, and meeting as a team. The board is also responsible representing British Obstacle Sports and British interests at the European Obstacle Sports Federation. Becky attended the Congress in April, and virtually we also joined the World Obstacle Congress in, I think it was November this year. So any feedback, any questions from a European and world level, it's the job of British Obstacle Sports to represent and share views, and we've done that. Well, we do that consistently in terms of conversations with our European partners and also at a world level. I also wanted just to remind everyone that this is your federation. It's a democratic organisation. If you have an opinion in something that you want to be done differently, certainly get involved with a committee. You can also raise member resolutions. We wanted to have this in our constitution because we wanted it to be a very democratic organization. But if you get 30 signatures, you can raise a member resolution with 0 signatures and put it to the board, and the board can make a decision if whether to put it to members. But if you get 30 signatures, it's automatically put to members to be voted on, essentially at AGMs or extraordinary general meetings. And 75% people vote on that decision. It is then passed as a resolution. These are all the committees that we currently have in place. There's various levels of status. I think just wanted to remind everyone that we're a complete voluntary organisation. So some of these committees, and you'll see, have made massive progress in 2022. Some haven't, but that's life, isn't it? Everyone's got priorities. We've all got priorities. So just kind of let's continue to get behind it. Anything you can do to support committees is fantastic. And I've just also wanted to give a quick thanks to some outgoing committee members, Becky, Martin, Natasha, Tom, and Joe. Joe's actually taken on the role of technical officials, but she was Club Development Committee Chair. And without going into any more detail, I'm now going to pass over to Ali, who's going to give you an update on the Ninja Sport Technical Committee.
Good evening, everybody. Just double check everybody can hear me nice and clear.
Sound good
stuff.
Ali.
So, yep, I'm Ali Hay, chair of the Ninja Technical Committee. We're just going to run through some of the stuff that we've done this year, some of the big moments and some of the things to come. It has been an awesome year in Ninja Sport. Just quick introductions from the technical committee members. Obviously got myself there. Beth Lodge, our official Ninja Warrior UK champion, first ever female champion, is the vice chair. We've got the legendary Henry Cookie, massive host of many a competition at his great facility. Dean Cheatham, Ninja Extraordinaire, and Shadow Roman, who is one of the hardest working members of all the committees. He is a very dedicated member. So that's our main member for the Ninja Sport Technical Committee there. So this year we managed to get some proper affiliations on the go with the Ninja Warrior UK Adventure Parks. From the outset, it sounds like a fairly simple process, but it's incredibly in depth just due to the fact that it is a big brand name with ITV. Everything does need hashed out when it comes to developing any relationship. These facilities are, for the most part, individually owned. They're proven to be a fairly large contributing factor to awareness now, as in boots on the ground of people participating. For example, this year we finally had 1.5 million people through the doors getting involved in these adventure parks, which is amazing. Now, I own Edinburgh, so the affiliation process for myself, I know everything that we needed to do, so we made sure we'd done it, and we almost did that as a little template to make sure all of that kind of was able to do. And we hosted our first little jam there with the Scottish Ninja League, and of course British Obstacle Sports was in association. We've also got Milton Keynes sponsoring of the Junior Champs, which is another big thing because it's an independent sponsorship from one of these adventure parks, which is a really good move. And we have Gloucester coming up soon, which I'll cover shortly. So we also had, I'm sure many of you seen, we had Ninja Warrior UK back on our TV. Brand new series, brand new format. We had Ninja Warrior UK Race for Glory, which was so in time with what we're actually currently doing. The head-to-head format, brand new format to obviously the UK. It has existed worldwide for a number of years now, but it's changed the competitive element and it really stepped up the athletic level. Number of the guys on your screens right now obviously took part, and it was awesome to see. And of course, Beth there with a win, representing hard for British Obstacle Sports. Numbers viewing wise were up in the millions again, and just to have it back and be able to get people resonating with that alongside the adventure parks and alongside coming out of COVID was incredibly important for us. We did divulge a lot of our energy into just keeping that momentum going. We did a podcast weekly with the UK OCR guys, trying to keep that momentum as best possible and welcoming so many new people to the sport who have incredible ability that we wanted to really build on that and keep that momentum up. So it did take much more of our time this year than we had actually expected. However, you don't get many shots at this kind of thing, and it's certainly something we needed to do. So it was good to see it back. And of course, as James mentioned earlier, with the British Ninja Championships, the first ever official British Ninja Championships, which was an absolute amazing event. That was in Liverpool at HC Ninja Fit. There was a great turnout. The facility is not massive. It's incredibly detailed facility, lots and lots of obstacles. If you haven't been, you need to check it out, number one. We had 42 athletes there. We had different categories for male and female this year, but competing on the same courses, which was a lot of fun, really hard going stuff. If you haven't seen these kind of comps, really good to check out. We had a lot of technical officials there, really good experience for them. Shaun was there. It was actually the first time I met James in person, which blew my mind. I think it blew both our minds. We were both like, have we not met yet? But really, really good fun. And Shaun, and it was just great to be there. And the furthest, fastest rules that we trialed out, similar to the show, went very well. And we had Beth taking the championship again, and we had Victor, our Siberian samurai. He took the win there in Liverpool, and it turned out to be a great event, something we're going to replicate, of course, in 2023, looking around the November, December time. But yeah, where possible. On that part there, so Ninja Sport UK, if you're not aware of what Ninja Sport UK is, it is an associated organisation within the British Obstacle Sports umbrella, I suppose you'd like to say. Ninja Sport UK is more of a grassroots organisation that structures kind of like independent events. We manage also the independent athletes that are more recognisable in the TV show, so they get fair coverage and recompense for all the events and all the goodwill that they do at these big ninja parks, where they're opening parks or doing appearances or whatever it is that they're doing, which is also a great way of us spreading the word out there. Ninja Sport UK League this year will be kicking off, and it should be kicking off very early in the year, potentially January, with the time trials. If that's not included within the Ninja Sport UK League, which we're to finalise, we will be having one the end of February starts / start of March. We're just hashing out the last weekends there for that at the minute, but we'll be kicking off very quickly, and we want to host that in a number of venues across the UK, and we have a number of them signed up already. So it's really exciting to finally have that off the ground and get it moving. And of course, as I mentioned there, the British Obstacle Sports 100 metre national trials, that's going to be held in Gloucester at the Ninja Warrior UK Adventure Park there. So make sure you've got this in your calendar. This is for qualification for basically Team GB, 3 places on each side there for the male and the female up for grabs. Format wise, it looks like you're going to have a couple of runs to do your best time, and it's just going to be taking the best 3 times as individual athletes. So of course we'll be fallback athletes, backup athletes, and there's going to be other opportunities throughout the year if you can't make this to also make the team. So this isn't the only one, but it's certainly going to be the most similar to what we will be doing when we actually do run these races. And that's on the January 21st, 7 p.m, 10 p.m. There's other obstacles alongside that you can warm up on. You're going to be able to come along, bring some snacks, bring some food. It's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's the kind of mindset as athletes we really need to get ourselves used to, this really intense head-to-head that we've seen on the TV this year, and we're seeing worldwide. And like Shaun mentioned before, in modern Pent is that format. So it's something we need to get accustomed to, whether it's 100 meter OCR, whether it's 100 meter ninja, whatever it is. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't tried it, you might surprise yourself. Definitely come and get involved.
Thank you very much, Ali. I'm now going to pass to Becky for the OCR Technical Committee update.
Thank you, Ali, and really successful and lots of progress there. It's really exciting to see. I think one of the important things for people to realise is that, you know, it's good that me and you sit on the board and we're able to actually work together and support the different OCR and technical committees for both Ninja and OCR, and I think it works together really well. So we have a committee within Obstacle Sports, and this is the current committee, Dave, Linda, Graham, Karen, Fabian, and James and myself. I think we have a really diverse kind of range of experience within these people, and we've been very active this year. We've had 10 meetings, as well as being kind of sharing information using our Slack channels and making decisions as we work through all of that information and feedback from the athletes. So some things that we've done this year already. The time trials started in the spring, so that was from 13 different venues, both indoor and outdoor. So using that format that I mentioned earlier, people were able to kind of take part in that over quite a number of weekends. So it wasn't just a single event. It meant that people could get involved kind of around their lifestyle as well, which was really great way to kind of start the season. The UK OCR series that we worked on to support with UK OCR had 8 events in total over the year, sort of 1 a month. And we had winners, male and female winners for kind of the overall and masters category, as well as a team competition. And we also of course, had the Junior National Championships, which you've heard about, and we might hear about more later. And also national representation of lots of our athletes and lots of our members at the European Championships, as well as other international events like Spartan. And as part of that, we had some new processes in place. So other activities that we've done this year has involved having or selecting a national team at the European Championships. So mixed teams or single gender teams to compete and represent the UK at those championships. And we had a selection process and a captain that kind of was involved in that. We also kind of help with decisions in terms of qualification for the European Championships. And we also made some recommendations based on the surveys and feedback from our members and athletes that we've had traveling to those championships after the event, and fed those back to the European Congress as well. So kind of looking forward then, we're going to continue with the UK OCR series across the UK for 2023. So there's going to be more events, some different events next year. They're all differentiate between competitive and non-competitive events. And one of the things you might have seen this year at Overload Run or at the Junior National Championships was a rule book. So that highlighted the different obstacles, how you complete them, what constitutes a success or a fail, and whether there's a penalty associated, as well as an image of the obstacle and what the kind of the primary challenge of that obstacle is. So we're looking to have that information, as well as our technical officials, which you'll hear more about later at those events, to really kind of help bring up the quality and the fairness of those events to enhance the competition. So these kind of range from April up until October. So that's going to end with our British OCR Championships. And we also have a new series. So British Obstacle Sports is going to support Scottish OCR with a 5-event series. They may add more, and they're all going to have competitive ways and use the current rules for those races. So that's a really exciting kind of extension of the series, and I think it will help spread OCR across the UK. Okay, so in October then, as we kind of announced last week, we're working with our partners, Spartan, to host the British OCR Championships. This is for senior athletes, and that's going to be on the Sunday of that Spartan weekend that's already existing at Pippingford Park, home of OCR races in the UK for many years. And so that'll be a standalone event before the super races that Spartan run usually on that day. There'll be qualification involved to compete either in the elite category or in the age group category. So the age group qualification process just means you need to have competed in 2 competitive races earlier in the year. And that's going to have prizes as well as being, really, really prestigious event, and the first one that we are running. Yes, so you can also represent the UK internationally. So in June there is the OCR European Championships in Hungary. So they'll have 3K, 15K, 100 meters, and a national team event. You can already qualify for that event, but we'll also be looking to select a team for the national team race as well as the 100 meters. Then in September there is the FISO World Championships, the World Obstacle, and so they'll be looking to make selections for that event, because the only way to compete in that World Championships is to be selected by a national federation, which is what British Obstacle Sports is. So we've kind of released some of the information for that. I think I've got a slide on that next. And you can also compete in things like World's Toughest Mudder or the Spartan World Championships, as we just had recently. So on our website, this is the information that you can find. There's quite a lot of detail on there, so I won't go through it all, but please do have a look through the competitions and events on the website. We had a meeting about this recently, and you can watch the coverage of that, the recording of it on the website there. So in order to make this selection to represent the UK at some of those championships, we're going to have national trials. So they are events that have been selected or put on for this purpose, and the full details of that kind of selection policy will be published by the end of the year, 31st December, and that's been through kind of the technical committees as well. So something that we're trying to make sure that we keep on top of and understand is how athletes in the UK are feeling and thinking and perceiving, and whether we're doing what we're doing is the right kind of thing. So we're really keen to have feedback from the athletes, and so I'm kind of the chair of the National Athlete Council, which is a group of athletes who have done kind of competed internationally. All of our athletes have come in the top 10 at the European or World Championships, and we've got currently 5 members, I think. Tom, Nikki, Andrea, and Kate, and myself. And so the purpose of this council is to get feedback and understanding of ideas or suggestions of policies that we kind of come up with as part of British Obstacle Sports and part of the technical committee, and to get kind of an understanding and feedback from people who compete at these high-level international events, to make sure that it's in the interests of the athletes and in fairness. So yeah, we're hoping to continue that. We have had a couple of meetings so far, and it's been really, really useful. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Becky. Yeah, and Becky's kind of a great conduit there, because one is a world-class athlete with a top 10 performance at the European Championships this year, and is also on the board. So it works quite well to be able to discuss between the two groups. I'm going to talk about event support and our licensing committee. Got quite a few slides, so I am going to power through them quite quick because I want to make sure everyone else has the time to speak. I guess there's 3 key aims with event support. It's engaging with events, it's supporting them, and then it's also community reassurance to attend as many events as possible. There's 4 people currently on the committee, Becky, Rachel, Fabian, and myself. I've been quite heavily involved more in a kind of conversation perspective. I've had a lot of meetings with every single event on this list in 2023, whether it be a 15-minute chat or several kind of meetings over the year. But it's really important that we speak to events. If there's any events out there that I haven't spoken to in a while or haven't spoken to me ever, please do reach out. It's an open group organisation in terms of British Obstacle Sports for events. We want as many events as possible to engage with the federation, and so we can support you. I think one of the things that we have been able to do in 2023 through those communications, we've been able to avoid 3 event clashes in the UK in 2023. We've not been able to avoid all clashes, but I would say that's progress, having potentially like an organisation in the middle, just to be aware of the calendar, maybe aware of events that are upcoming that can't be communicated publicly. We could say actually maybe that weekend's not so good because there may be another event that's already booked, whatever that may be. But I'm very glad that 3 event clashes have been avoided, so more opportunities for the community to race. We have our partnership with Towergate that has helped us with our accident insurance for our members, but also supporting from an event perspective as well. So I think I've put in touch with the Towergate team about 3 or 4 events over the year, and Nick, our key contact, Nick Sullivan, who you'll hear from later, has done a fantastic job and been able to really help events with their insurance. We have our Share the Mud. We started it with, I think, about 15 organizations and teams at the start of the year to promote events out there, and we then continued it with a non-member newsletter throughout the year, and we've got over 1,000 email subscribers to that Share the Mud newsletter now. So that's where we're just trying to share about OCR and events and get people out racing. This year we also supported the UK Obstacle Racing Awards. We sponsored the event so they could have the trophies, and again, it's a great way to publicise events and get everyone talking about what's out there. We've also done some great work, and thanks to Dan Rose for his help here to develop the website. As we moved to British Obstacle Sports, Dan created a platform for events to now live on the British Obstacle Sports website. So it's now a case of actually populating all that data, and I'm really excited about how we can really drive a lot of people to the website and to events that are out there. So yeah, you'll start to see, if you go to find an event on British Obstacle Sports, a load of events listed, all licensed events that we've kind of had collaboration with, and we're aware of all of their kind of event details. and you can go through and like into detail of each event. And this is going to build out, it's a bit of a content management task to get all this information on there, but really excited about what that can kind of provide to people in the UK to find their next event. And one thing we want to try and add next year is reviews as well. So lots of data and information on that website that people can access to pick their next event. We've been doing lots of sharing on social media as well, and on Instagram, on Facebook, on email, like I mentioned. So we constantly want to promote events and share what's great about them and why we get out there. Anything anyone can do from a help perspective, whether that be from a social media perspective or helping with content on the website, that'd be greatly appreciated so we can really continue to support events and get the word out there. And then from a community reassurance perspective, one thing that we developed was this notion of a licensing program. So for any event that British Obstacle Sports promotes, we do a kind of due diligence on that event. I'd have to say it's due diligence. It's not, you know, these are all volunteers. It's not kind of a equivalent of a running England Athletics or British Athletics license where they go into kind of minute detail and policies and things, but it's still a very good check. So Malcolm checks risk assessments. Alex will do kind of checks from a financial perspective on Companies House. Got Jo with her experience in safeguarding, Shador for any legal checks, and then John Paul as an insurance expert will check the assurance is appropriate. So we're doing these checks on every event that's licensed or every training centre that's licensed. And this team votes on those decisions. So I don't get a say. I can share the information with this team, but I don't get to vote whether an event should be licensed or not. So thank you for this team. They've been constantly available throughout the year, licensing all the events. And great to see licensed events growing with British Obstacle Sports. We've got 58 next year, and I'm sure there's going to be more added. And also great to see so many events out there that we can all enjoy as well. Just some of the events that's out there. There's loads more, and apologies for any that I've missed, but we've got great portfolio of events that we're in collaboration and supporting. So really pleased that we've made that progress this year. And I think we're now in a position, as you see with the Spartan partnership, that we're starting to take that to the next level, that we're actually going into commercial partnerships with brands out there for essentially supporting the objective of what British Obstacle Sports is trying to do, to grow the sport, to get recognition for the sport. So really pleased with what we've been able to do with Spartan. And we are having these conversations with other brands as well in terms of how we can partner to support. From a 2023 objectives perspective, we want to continue the licensing program and support for events. We want to develop that event section of the website. And we want to get to 100K visits per year within the event section of the site. And one thing that you may have seen earlier is safety management policy. That's actually something that we were required to do from a application perspective. So we really want to ensure that we've made progress there and started that in partnership with events to build that safety management policy. I'm also going to talk about training centres again, very briefly, for the interest of time, but this is the committee. I have to be honest, training centres, we've made some progress this year, but this is again another area that we want to progress in 2023 in terms of bringing this committee together and bringing anyone else from a training centre perspective that wants to contribute to this committee to look at how we continue to support and develop training centres into 2023. As I said, we've made progress this year. We had the first affiliated training centre. So we had Rumble Fitness that was affiliated earlier in the year. And we also had our first affiliated activity centre, as Ali mentioned earlier, Ninja Warrior UK at Venture Park, Edinburgh. And I'll come on to explain the differences between the two as well. So we're now starting to see that spread around the country. We've got HT Fit Ninja training in Liverpool, and we've got Wild Forest, Rumble, PT Bar and Raw Fit further south, and then Fit Body Farm that's one to add in Scotland as well. So looking to grow this into 2023 from an affiliation perspective. One thing that was great with our affiliated training centres, we were able to provide free junior training days. I should say they were able to provide free junior training days for the ahead of the junior championship. So Rumble Fitness, Fit Body Farm and PT Barn all held junior training days, and I attended 2 with my children. Fantastic days, and really great training ahead of the junior championships, and amazing to see our junior athletes out having fun and enjoying themselves. So British Obstacle Sports time trials 2023 will return next year. We are looking at a kind of February-May window of time, and different training centres will put on time trials at different points in that window. They are now going to be reserved solely for affiliated training centres. Previously, it was an open policy, and we do want to bring, it is an open federation. We want to bring as many people in as possible to the federation, but we are going to ask, in support of our affiliated training centres, any training centre out there to be affiliated to host a time trial. Very quickly, these are the affiliation requirements. We do like we do with events, risk assessments, insurance checks. We check policies, and we're in support in terms of helping to with any best practice there as well. And if it's a affiliated training centre, we would also expect certified British Obstacle Sports coaches, which Dave will talk about earlier, and then to offer some form of training program, whether kind of one-off training days or a regular kind of training process. So we've made progress this year from a training centre perspective. I do want to re-establish an active training centre committee, though, with kind of active regular meetings and work beyond solely affiliation, which is still very important. We want to get, like we have for events, the website updated to include training centre profiles. So all the training centres are on there. And if people are looking for a training centre in Cheshire, they can go on to that area of the website and find their nearest training centre, for example. We're asking training centres for their policies from a safeguard and data protection. We'd love to create standard templates that are approved from a British Obstacle Sports perspective that all training centres can use and follow best practice guidance. That's something that we want to try and produce in 2023. And we want to affiliate 10 new training centres or activity centres next year. Final update from me before you'll hear from someone else. So we've made progress from a club development perspective in developing affiliation policy for clubs. And we see this as really important because it's a real opportunity to grow our sport. When you look at running, there's 2,000 running clubs in the UK. Even if we started to kind of work with the running clubs and build obstacle sports elements of running clubs, that would be amazing. But we do see structuring of clubs as a really important part of British obstacle sports. As mentioned earlier, even potentially in the future, that the clubs become the members that vote on decisions, and then they work with their athletes and members to get to gather that information. But first and foremost, we need to develop functioning clubs that would work similar to running, triathlon, other sports, where they can really help to support, both from a participation perspective and a competitive perspective, their members. So we did have our first affiliated club in 2022, which was Nuclear Phoenix. This is kind of probably benefited because I'm part of Nuclear Phoenix. So I was able to push this forward and ensure that we could get all the information in, but we want to kind of do this with other clubs in 2023. It's really kind of entry level in terms of affiliation requirements. We want to start the process somewhere with clubs, but we do have to have a kind of a minimum level of expectation. And we want to make sure they're following the code of conduct. They have their own code of conduct within their club. Any club coaches are certified British Obstacle Sports coaches. One thing we felt is important that they appoint a welfare officer who's got some safeguarding experience. We have Nuclear Phoenix free welfare officers, for example, and then the club contact who ideally will sit or be involved with the club development committee at British Obstacle Sports. So in order to push this forward for next year, Oner's very kindly agreed to sit as the chair. And we have Megan from Nuclear Phoenix who's going to sit on the club development committee as well. So hoping that we continue to progress this and develop this in 2023, get more clubs involved, build that club network, and see how we can develop the club network in the UK. I'm now going to pass to Jamie Gane, a committee member on the Diversity Inclusion Committee, for some updates there. Jamie?
Thanks, James. Hi everybody. In the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, we're quite a diverse, funnily enough, group of people. We've got 5 members, Nastasha, Heloise, myself, Becky and Monty. And as you can imagine, diversity and inclusion encompasses a huge part of obstacle racing, but also is a massive kind of umbrella term to encompass lots of different people and lots of different kind of elements. As kind of a team, we've been working a lot individually. We haven't had the chance to meet perhaps as much as we would have liked to, and moving into next year, that's a big thing for us, is to meet more regularly. But individually, we've been doing a lot of work and coming together to kind of form part of the committee. Myself as part of the sort of para side of things, as well as others in there, we've got some really exciting things in the works. Not only have we now got a classification criteria for para athletes for international and national events, we've also got some exciting announcements from Spartan brand with regards to giving every athlete, every adaptive athlete in the world, an unbreakable pass. We're looking at bringing that into Europe, because at the moment it's currently only open to everybody else. But sort of that's something that's in the works for next year, as well as also bringing in a British Championships for para races. So there are some really exciting races coming up. We've got the European Championships. There's a Spartan race happening in the Netherlands in May, as well as FISO's World Championships in September, OCR para inclusion as well. So in terms of our plans for next year, our 2023 objectives, we've got 3. Thank you. So one is to re-establish an active diversity and inclusion committee to meet more regularly and have sort of a better idea of working together as a group, rather than us all working really hard individually. To create a equality and diversity policy, for it to be published and for us to all work really well on that. And then also to put on a national para event in 2023. Those are our plans.
Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, it's great news to see para. It's had kind of one event via Spartan this year, and it's really started to develop into 23. Just shows a bit of hard work from the para community there, and how it kind of manifests forward into the future. So no, congratulations on that, and exciting to see next year our first national para event in the UK. I'm going to hand over to Wendy, who has actually quite recently taken on the committee chair role of the OCR community committee from Martin.
Hello everyone. So we've started our OCR community back in February, I think it was, and we've been working towards being really inclusive to all the different aspects of the community. We've been quite active. We've managed to meet 8 times, I think. We meet once a month, and we're pretty good at getting involved in things. We've had some fairly key success stories with really pushing the showing presentations of BOS at events. So we've had our stand at 4 events so far. We've been at Spartan, we've been at Nuts, Beach Ballistic, and one other. So we've done quite a few different event stands, trying to get new members and also share the mud. We've asked people to join up. We've also been working quite hard on the encouraging technical officials and the volunteers level 1. We've had our first experimental presentation of that, and we signed up some new people. Going forwards, we want to have about 100 members as volunteers next year. So we've got quite a few plans going forward of what we want to achieve. Our main role is to be encouraging different aspects of OCR, not just the athletes, but also all the various people who support behind the scenes. So lots of things to get excited about going forward, especially the ambassadors, which is coming up next year. We've got ambassadors in place, ready to start. Hopefully from January, we're going to start meeting, and that's going to be a new programme going forwards. So I think that's it from me.
Thanks, Wendy. Yeah, I think the other thing to add from a community perspective, one thing that was important to us was to develop relationships with existing communities that are out there. So we developed a relationship with UK OCR, with Scottish OCR, with our partnership with Sparta. We've now got obviously that community within UK Spartan racers that we're speaking to. We've also set up Welsh Obstacle Sports and Northern England OCR community groups. Love if anyone is in a region that wants to push those communities to jump onto those groups and get involved. I think Scottish OCR is a fantastic case study in how a community can get together and grow their sports. I'd love to see more in the Welsh Obstacle Sports and Northern England OCR groups as well. But I guess this is our strategy: support existing communities that are already out there, and where there's gaps, try and bring communities in and grow communities and opportunities for the sport to flourish in those areas. Yes, and Wendy mentioned the ambassador program and the volunteer training as well that we have in place now, thanks to the hard work of the community committee to develop that. And that's kind of that entry into volunteering, that we already have so many great volunteers already out there, but just an opportunity for anyone that isn't a volunteer already to get that guidance and training. And the Weekend Warrior Award, over 40 people in 2022 have earned that award. They've attended 8 different unique events or training centres in the year. So it's clearly is a very active community with a lot of support for events. So we will continue that into 2023. And we talked about some of these objectives, but just getting more exposure from a community perspective going into 2023. Going to hand over to Harsha, who's going to head up the sustainability committee, and we've only recently started to discuss this, and Harsha agreed to take on this role. So no progress yet, but love Harsha just to give a quick update on your plans.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Harsha Burton. So yeah, as James mentioned, recently joined the sustainability committee. I joined because it's a topic that's close to my heart, and the focus of the committee will be on environmental sustainability. So yeah, committees, Julie, James and myself. I currently work at the Ramblers, which is a walking charity, and I'm part of their sustainability group. So I'm hoping to use some of my knowledge to support the discussions here. And as you all know, the impacts of climate change are growing, and all organisations need to take a look at their responsibilities and look at their activities and impacts. So there's the next slide, please. Within the Articles of Association for British Obstacle Sports, we've got an objective to support reaching a net zero emissions world by 2050. So yeah, within this, we'll be looking at how we can support this objective. We all have a connection to the outdoors and to green spaces, so I'd love your support to work towards protecting it. And a couple of objectives we put just to establish a committee and produce participants and event guidance to encourage sustainable practices. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we're doing quite well for time, so don't feel anyone needs to rush. But Dave, I'm going to hand over to you to talk youth engagement, and I think you're going to cover the coach development as well.
Yeah, lucky you've got time, because I do like to hark on a bit, so I've got the time to do it. Anyone who doesn't know, my name's Dave Peters. I am involved heavily with youth engagement, but also on the coaching development as well. If you could take us through the slides, James. So with the youth engagement, obviously the biggest draw of the work that we've done this year has been centred around the British OCR Junior Championships, which proved to be a huge success. You can see on the slides here, we had a feedback rating with 9.2, so we were quite happy that we'd obviously not only had a successful event that took place on the day, but also the feedback that we got back for it was largely positive as well. It was nice to see actually the single sort of largest piece of advice and feedback that we got from everybody was shared by us at the committees. which was that just to see that many children starting a race together in a competitive environment was really nice to see, and obviously provided a lot of people with that opportunity. So 104 athletes. There's a huge volunteer team, so 35 volunteers helped out make that event possible. Obviously, we were hugely supported by Swanbourne Endeavour as well, who allowed us to actually put that event on. Running a championship race is obviously a huge undertaking, so having a partner that's so willing and so helpful, especially being a charity event as they were, it was such a privilege to work with the guys. It was really useful that we had those guys on board. Thanks, James. So again, we'll be going back. So we are planning to run the junior championships again in October 22nd, 2023. I think that's already been communicated out. If it hasn't, here it is now. Again, it will be at Swanbourne Endeavour on this occasion. Again, that will just be further enhanced by the working relationship we already have, but also provide us with an opportunity to drill down on some of the feedback that we got and really provide an even larger scale event, hopefully, possibly with some increased divisions. So looking at reducing some of the age categories if we get the member uptake, and also obviously just building on the between now and then, now and then, in terms of what we can develop across the sport as a whole, but also in terms of the competitive environment that the guys are getting involved in. So safeguarding as an active committee this year, we haven't maybe made the progress that we wanted. I think one of the big single strengths we have is the amount of experience and knowledge that we have within the committee. However, obviously at the moment, we're also very busy individuals. Some of us spread across series of committees as well. So it's been difficult to actually sit together. So we haven't made quite the progress we've wanted to with safeguarding. We are pretty close. We'll be able to get it drilled in. So it's one of our early objectives for next year to get that sorted, the safeguarding policies. And it's one of our key areas. We're also looking into long-term athlete development pathway. So this will work closely alongside the athlete development pathway for seniors. But in terms of juniors, our main objective with this really is to try and bridge the gap between where an athlete works as a junior and then when they step into senior racing. And what we want to do is make sure that they're prepared in every possible way for the senior racing calendar when they take it on. And it's also providing them with opportunities. So speaking with lots of races across the country, trying to find suitable strategies in terms of how we can draw juniors from the junior racing and into adult racing, but also how we can develop the junior racing scene itself, so we can provide them with more competitive environments, not just as a championship race, but across the country, possible series races, league races, those sorts of things like that. So obviously it all takes time, but we're going to work closely with races to try and help provide those opportunities. So moving on to Coaching Development Committee. So as James has already mentioned, I was chair of the Coaching Development Committee. We've got a good, strong team with us. This is made up currently of the 6 individuals. So we have Lindsay, Shaun, Justin, James, Shaun and myself. We meet quite regularly. We're pretty active. We meet pretty much every month. I think we've done 9 or 10 meetings this year. Again, you're seeing a range of sort of abilities and experience within the committee, so it's able to provide us with good level of experience to push the committee on. So this year we managed to get quite a fair bit done. One of our main things that we wanted to sort out this year was that we wanted to make sure that we've organised and administrated for all the outstanding coaching assessments and coursework that we had from 2021. We had a fair bit of work to do to get that over the line, but we've managed to tidy that all up, get everyone signed off. Everyone knows where they're at now with their coursework and their assessments. We also wanted to run some more coaching courses to bring on more certified coaches, develop the OCR qualifications themselves, so certifications at level 3, running pilot courses for that, put in place the level 2 ninja course and run the pilot for that. And we also wanted to establish a clear recognition process for certified British Obstacle Sports coaches and implement the coach profiles on the website. So most of that we managed to get done. We've run a couple more courses of OCR training. We managed to actually build our numbers to 75 trained OCR coaches now across the community. 14 of those are fully certified coaches, which effectively means that they've gone through the process of affiliation, which is obviously detailed here. So you can see they firstly have to be a member, trained in obstacle sports training, and have prerequisite qualifications of gym instructor level 2 or level 3. They have to have first aid qualifications, safeguarding training, disability training. They provide evidence of their insurance and then also their DBS checks on centre. So effectively, we're looking to try and provide a professional service, make sure that our coaches are offering the most professional training that they can. And so we obviously have some due diligence in place to really kind of sign off and affiliate those guys against our policies. So obviously we'll have certifications as part of the training course. So you can see here, certificate for Jenny Wade as a obstacle course racing coach. And then we also go into the affiliation on the profiling on the website, which you can see an example here with Scott Phillips. So again, it's just giving them the exposure, but also detailing a little bit about them and a little bit about how you can get involved with their kind of coaching, where they're based, the types of qualifications they have, and the types of training that they offer as well. And again, as a federation, it's not just about the educational side of things, but it's also trying to provide our coaches with support and a platform for advertising themselves across the country, and for our members to be able to access coaches who they can have confidence in. So a couple of extra things that we managed to get done this year. So we've run our first aid course for our coaches early in the year. That took place at Rumble Fitness in February. We also look to run some more of these courses. So we'll look into any of the prerequisite qualifications that we ask for as part of the accreditation process. We're looking to try and run those courses or make them accessible. We're lucky to have people on board on the federation itself, such as Joe, who can help run these courses with us, which gives us those opportunities. We've also managed to accelerate the coach certification processes of Spartan SGX. So it's always been on our agenda to bring those guys who have SGX qualifications on board. What we've managed to do at this stage now, quite recently actually, is to be able to accelerate those that already hold SGX qualifications and bring those into the BOS certification process now. Again, we'll look to do that at higher levels as well, and with any similar certifications that are relevant for the coaching systems, then we'll try and bring those in as well and see where we can cross over, so we don't need to redo any of the information that they've already studied. Ninja Sport coaching course pilot. So we had that as one of our objectives this year to get it done. We didn't actually manage to run the pilot, but we have now written the course. The course is ready to go, and we are in the process of sorting dates out. It looks to be like we will run this course in probably February next year as the first level 2. So we're bringing in some of the already high level coaches that are already operating in the industry, and they're going to help us to run that pilot and get it all brushed up to make sure it's at the right standard as well. Level 3 and 4 course, I think Shaun has already done some good work on this out in Manila, I believe it was. We've run in the advanced qualifications for the World Obstacle. We're looking to bring this into the British Federation now. So early in the year, we'll bring in our level 3 OCR coaches, and then we'll look to continue our education of our assessors and our federation educators as well, so they can work with coaches continuing going forward. So as of next year, so we're looking into next year's objectives. So we want to support our trained coaches in every way possible. So we're going to look again, similar to last year, look to final completion of coursework and assessments, make sure all our coaches are supported and know what it is that they need to do to sign off on their certifications, but also to get them affiliated and fully certified BOS coaches. We want to certify 25 more at least. So that'll be the minimum that we're aiming for. So we're aiming to have over 100 BOS trained coaches next year. Also, as I've already mentioned, running the pilot course for the level 3 OCR and running the level 2 Ninja certification, and then implementing that coaching framework for the Ninja Sports as well. We're looking to develop our coaches further with further fitness and OCR certifications that suit professional requirements. So we're looking to introduce junior training certificates. We're looking at possible strength conditioning courses as well, or where we can cross over and use our partners that already provide them, such as 5S and similar people like this. So next year we should have 5 coaching certifications available to our coaches through the federation, and we'll hopefully be able to support those coaches and bring them through onto the fully certified system, and therefore get themselves signed up with their profiles on the website as well, so that we'll have 50 signed up and over 100 trained.
Thank you very much, Dave. And I think as Dave mentioned, we've got the coach profiles. With the training centers, with the coach profiles, we really want to get those, use the website as that real hub of information. Please bear with us as we get all that content on. It is a big content management task. So again, if there's anyone available to support, from a content management perspective, with an hour or two a month, that would be really helpful, so we can really promote our coaches, our training centres and events. But great work from Dave and the team, continuing the progress made by Shaun Wilde in the first year of the coach development committee. I'm now going to pass to Joe, who has taken the chair role for the Technical Officials Development Committee. I think in June this year, we really got this committee going. It's made fantastic progress. So really exciting development for competitive racing and supporting it from a technical officials perspective. So Joe, do we have you?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I'm Joe, that those don't know me. So yeah, we're quite a new committee, really. So we've probably been around for about 6 months. We're probably now month 7 at the moment. Really great, strong committee. So there's myself, there's Mike, who takes the lead for everything Spartan, Lindsay, Henry, James, Ian, and Stuart. If you look at our representation, we do cross over into Ninja, and what we would like to do is obviously fill our last spot on our committee with someone from the Ninja community as well, because as technical officials we cross over both OCR and Ninja. So that's really key that we've got that representation across everything. We've been quite active this year, so although we are quite new, we don't really have a huge amount of meetings virtually, but we are very, very active on Slack. I think that's our key form of communication. So we do regularly throw ideas across to each other, and really good open communications through that. There's a really strong, I suppose, spirit between the technical official committee, where we're all happy to jump in and get involved, which is brilliant. So in 2022, we had quite low objectives. We wanted to run one officials training course. By the end of the year, now I did do these slides a few weeks ago, so it might have changed since then. We've actually run 7 courses. We wanted to train 8 officials, and we trained 53. Again, I know that's gone up because we did a course since I did the slides. And we wanted to establish a pathway in line with World Obstacle Guidelines. So our big achievements, obviously, from there were we've actually got 107 officiating experience that we log. And for those that don't know about how our technical officials work, is we ask all our officials to log their experiences, and that goes towards their pathway, and then moving up the levels. So we've got 107 experiences logged. So that's 107, I suppose, officiating experiences have been done. And we've also done some additional CPD work, especially with Spartan, which Mike led on, where we held a meeting, 21 of our officials attended. And it's basically where we hash out the rule book, and we talk through all of those scenarios so that as officials, we know what we're looking for and we can answer the questions from our racers. So we have a points allocation. So when you attend an event as a technical official, you get points. So the higher level the competition, the higher the points are. All of our technical officials, if they marshal at an OCR, they still get recognition for that, because it's still a key part of officiating. I'm very, very involved in athletics, and it's exactly the same. Every role is important to us in our development. You also get the chance with the technical officials to be a head official or be what's called a technical delegate, where you're involved with the organisation, with the race directors. So that's something else that we do. We've got our rule book. So this is where we have someone as technical delegate who works with the race directors to basically look at implementing the rule books into their events. And then we're all singing from the same song sheet. Everyone knows the rules, and we can really make sure that we've got even and fair competition. And we've done that successfully twice now with Overload. And if you feel free to read, I won't read the quote out to you, but James worked with Overload to get the rule book implemented, and the feedback was brilliant. And it's something that we really want to do in 2023 going forward. It's something that we can take. Sorry, comments just popped up and distracted me. It's something that we can take forward, and we can take the pressure off race directors, because that's what our job is there for. I'll have a look at that comment at the end. So yeah, so Mike, if you're there, I don't know if you just want to throw a few lines in about.
Yeah, so this coming up season is with Spartan is going to be slightly different, obviously, because everyone's seen that there's no burpees for us to count. And on the slide you can see Megan doing some officiating, checking people's burpees. It doesn't mean that we won't have cameras at Spartan. There will still be cameras on Spartan on obstacles, just to make sure that everything is as it should, and making sure bells are rang and obstacles done completed properly. We've done quite well this season. We've brought on quite a lot of technical officials. I actually started the Spartan module before I knew about the partnership. It was something that I wanted to do as a technical official, because just meeting up and just assuming everyone knew the rules didn't see right with me. So I sort of started that module, and we've had, like we said, we've got 21 or 22, I think now, which have come through doing this module, which actually adds points to your technical official score for your progression. Next season, we're looking at doing a few more. I'm looking at doing the kids series, the junior series as well, and we're getting quite a lot of the parents that are involved in that involved as well. So bringing the whole community in into this, so they're not just watching the kids run around, they're actually getting involved, they're all knowing the rules, and it's going quite well. And we're also looking at doing another one for the new elite series. I'm just waiting for the new rule books to come through. It's actually getting to be quite a good community. The British Obstacle Sports technical officials, we have lots of banter. We meet up early morning, have breakfast, like we did at Junior Championships. Yeah, and it's a good thing to get involved with. So feel free to contact us if you want to join in, as well as the volunteers.
Thank you, Mike. So yeah, so Mike's my vice chair. So yeah, it's great to have that working group between the two of us. So some of our achievements, we've also mentioned our Spartan rule book that we've gone through. So the junior championships, we had 28 trained technical officials. It's just a spattering of us there, who came along and officiated. I got to be head official that day. It was very, very wet, but the spirits were high and great competition. And that was really, I think it really put a high on how much that we've done this year already to have that many technical officials at such a great event. So yeah, that's a huge buzz for me. Slightly smaller crew at the British Ninja Championships. There was only 6 of us. There's limited roles at the Ninja Championships, but this was brilliant because it gave all of us new roles that we'd probably never done. Things like start and stop clock, results processing, timekeeping across the whole course, but individually on different sectors. And this is an area that we don't have as much experience in. Going forward into 2023, we've got lots more competitions coming up where we can get more technical officials involved. I think we all enjoyed being indoors for a change, which was brilliant as well. So our goals for 2023, we want to train a further 60 technical officials. We have at the moment, where's my notes? We have 8 technical officials at the moment who are at 75 plus points. So our goal is to progress those, and then a further 12 more to get to level 3, which is the national technical official role as well. We would also like to progress our technical officials if they have a desire to go and officiate internationally. So obviously we've got World and European Championships, and we're looking to be able to support people to go and do that as well. We've got we started on our pathway in line with World Obstacle, which we will be launching at the beginning of 2023. We've just got to finalise the exact details of moving up the levels so that we can support people. And we are also looking, as well as our lovely sort of bibs, I think we're also looking at some kind of uniform for events. So it just pushes the fact that the sport has officials. I think it just makes us more, I don't know, can't think of the word at the moment. But yeah, really, really exciting things that are coming up. And I just want to say a really big thank you to everybody who has attended the courses and has officiated. It's been brilliant. The last 6 months have been amazing. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. It's really important for the competitive side of the sport to have that fair race, which comes from technical officiating. So yeah, really, really grateful to everyone who's officiated and to the team for supporting the rollout. Partner updates. We've introduced 3 partners this year, which is great. Kitbricks. And Kitbricks, we maybe haven't heard a lot from them, but we've had conversations and meetings with Kitbricks that they not only are supporting from a sponsorship perspective, but also sharing their expertise as well. They have partnerships with other national federations, and they can be they're really valuable input to what we're trying to achieve. We've heard a lot about our Spartan partnership today, and you'll hear maybe a bit more shortly on that. And that's been fantastic for British Obstacle Sports to have that close partnership with Spartan and bringing their experience and knowledge, and also Towergate as well, which we're going to hear from Nick shortly. Also wanted to thank Obstacle Mud Runner magazine. Donna and the team sponsored the national team kit for the national team race. Allowed us all to be looking awesome in the same kind of national team kit. So thank you to Obstacle Mud Runner magazine. Issue 19 is out now, so do take a look at that. It's a great content there to have a look through. And not an official partner yet, but hopefully maybe in the future. But Voom Nutrition, their team helped us from the logo development for British Obstacle Sports as well. So I also wanted to thank Voom Nutrition for their support. I'm going to pass to Nick at Towergate just to give an update on the work that they've been doing to support British Obstacle Sports. Are you on mute, Nick, or have I lost you?
I was thinking you were going to take me off, James, sorry, but I am now off mute and hopefully you can hear me.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you. I'm Nick Sullivan and I'm the primary contact at Towergate Insurance Brokers and look after the partnership with British Obstacle Sports. Thank you, James. As we can see on the slides there, James has listed the primary things that BOS have tasked or asked of Towergate when we entered into this partnership. It actually starts with a bit of a negative, I guess, to kick off with, but it is my strong belief that underwriters have generally had quite a negative perception of obstacle sports, and specifically even the provision of public liability insurance. And not wishing to get too technical at this time of the evening, but that's the sort of cover that responds if somebody suffers a bodily injury whilst they're participating in obstacle sports. I think this is really down to a combination of 3 primary things, really. Maybe a lack of understanding of the sport or the industry, whatever you want to call it. Maybe previous misrepresentation of risks to them. So they've thought they're insuring certain things, but actually it was of a greater risk. And then also probably the historic lack of the governing body and the fact there weren't any rules or regulations or really standards for them to work to and trying to assess claims against. All of those would have been fine if there hadn't been claims that followed, but sadly there were some significant payouts historically, and a number of insurers actually then sort of withdrew from the market. This has resulted in the position we pretty much find ourselves in today, which is very few options with regards to underwriters that are actually going to write liability cover for obstacle sports. To try and counteract this, we're working closely with BOS in areas such as risk management, collation of statistics. Underwriters certainly like statistics, and also allowing active collaboration between BOS, ourselves as broker and insurance partner, and chosen insurers. And we've actually recently put together a discussion paper which we've submitted to BOS for review about some of the key areas we think we can actually look to try and address to better this current position that we find ourselves in. Ultimately, bringing more insurers to the party and hopefully creating both competitive but sustainable insurance premiums, because it's no good having insurers that just come and provide cover for 1 year and then get scared and run away because they've had to pay claims. So it's really a question or a task for us to manage that. Point 2 there focuses very much on the member insurance options, as we've heard before. And hopefully you all are all now familiar with the personal accident cover that's provided as part of your membership. If not, details are available on the website, as are my contact details. Always happy to answer any questions. Point B there, for those who are self-employed, the personal accident cover may not be enough to actually protect you. So if you wanted to consider additional cover that actually relates directly to your income, we've got a specialist team within Towergate who can advise in that area and offer quotations. Again, all the contact details are on the web page. And finally, the last area was travel insurance. Most people will appreciate that a normal travel policy is going to have some exclusions with regards to activities that you can do whilst you're overseas. And obstacle sports is not always, but generally one of those things that is probably going to be excluded. So you do tend to need a specialised policy if you're going to participate in obstacle sports overseas. I'm just putting what I hopefully the finishing touches to a product that's going to encompass all the BOS activities. So that should be available hopefully in Q1 of next year, ready for next season. And obviously you will all hear full details of that once we have finalised that.
Great, thank you, Nick. And I think that first point in terms of risk management is really important, because if we can support from a federation perspective in providing that reassurance to insurers, and we can hopefully maintain the cost or bring the cost down from insurance, that's only going to help events to be successful in the future.
Absolutely.
Another valuable reason for the federation. I'm going to pass now to Giles Chater, CEO of Tough Mudder and Senior Vice President of Spartan International, just for an update from a partnership perspective. Hi, Giles.
Hey, James. Thank you. I appreciate the invite. I feel a little bit bad for not putting slides together, so you're all going to have to stare at that kind of combined logo for a little bit. I did, as you can imagine, James was very polite, but he implied I shouldn't waffle, so I will jump straight in. Look at Spartan. We believe that the successful future for sport at OCR requires a number of elements to work in harmony together. As you can imagine, right? Media, commercial partnerships, junior participation, private operators like ourselves, performance pathways, coaching frameworks, volunteers officiating, as we've seen by the number of committees that have talked earlier today. And this balance requires both strong commercial operators and a strong governing body. And that's something, particularly in the UK, I think the community have needed for a while. And beyond promoting this balance, we need strong federations to independently champion the constituent elements of the community. They're uniquely placed to support and lead on things that we just can't as single commercial operators, such as coaching schemes, or more importantly, performance programs for junior athletes, which invariably stretch over long periods of time and on a horizon that is beyond the way kind of commercial operators operate. And so with that in mind, Spartan and World Obstacle have signed a memorandum of understanding to develop kind of OCR into 2023 and beyond, very much around a collaborative vision for shaping the sport together. And that covers the things you would imagine: event sanctioning and drug testing, membership growth, which we'll touch on shortly, event production, scheduling, and co-hosting. It's very awkward every time we get a conflict in the calendars. I do promise we communicate more than you'd imagine. It's not always possible to avoid these. The cross-promotion and cooperative marketing, rules and sport development, referee training, community participation, national teams, and throughout this, right, we've worked really closely with James and his teams. And I wanted to touch on a couple elements more specific to kind of what we're doing over here in the UK. The first is around membership. as touched on. We know how important healthy membership is to a successful national federation. And so we're actively supporting BOS to grow their membership in 2 key ways. The first is around requiring membership for entry into our events. So all Spartan competitive races, i.e. elite and age group in the UK, are going to require a national federation membership if they want to compete at our events. And we're going to be extending the same principle to the competitive elements of Tough Mudder. And you will see communication out into the community on that next week or later this week. I do lose track of these things, but shortly. So we're going to extend that over as well. And then we're going to continue to just directly promote BOS and the benefits of membership via our database, our marketing channels, and on our event sites. The second element of this, for me, is national teams. In the absence of a really robust national federation system globally and national teams, Spartan have operated a pro program for a number of years, and we are phasing that out. So there won't be a Spartan pro roster. And next year, instead, we are going to work with respective national federations globally to funnel athletes into the national teams, which we believe is where country teams should be managed independently by the federation. And I think that's ultimately the pinnacle of kind of achievement, if you want, team recognition within the sport. And so we're going to support that. We're also going to make, in particular, additional support available to junior athletes, and really excited by the conversations and with Dave and James on that front. You'll see quite a lot more from us on that front over the months ahead, as well as to continue to offer our events up for championship. And more specifically on that, seeing my internet connection is hanging on. Whilst we will continue to ensure that the courts are not a week at all, tenants of we do think there's opportunity to open up an 8 or more event series.
I think we are losing you, Giles, unfortunately.
And others to ensure that there are merging. Am I still here?
When you just said that, you were.
Am I back, or is there still awkward internet issue?
Now you are. Let's give it one more go. Thank you.
So particularly on the junior side, we believe there is opportunity to open up competitive elements across Tough Mudder's non-competitive product to just increase the number of opportunities young people, particularly young people within the federation programs, have to participate and compete across kind of short and medium distance format. So very exciting opportunities coming there. And then a couple of others touched on it. Mike touched on it earlier. On a format front, right, to help with consistency, we're moving away from burpees on Spartan Elite and age group into standardized penalties. And that's the first step for us. We're going to continue to work with BOS and others around at least alignment wherever we can on rules and penalty systems going forward, so that when athletes are participating, the nature of that kind of experience or race provides the best possible training for national and regional and world championships in the future. We're also introducing the new 3K format, and that's going to be housed within an elite series across North America, Europe, China, and the Philippines next year. And the primary intent there is not to in any way minimize the other formats across Spartan that are all staying put, but it's to build a successful broadcast format. As we know, successful broadcast participation, awareness, and funding, as we can see from Ninja Warrior. And so it's really important both for ourselves, but I also think for the sport as a whole, that we establish something of this nature on the OCR side. And this is also ultimately a hedge for where we believe standalone OCR will land in the Olympics. Look, while this is by no means a comprehensive list, what I was just trying to point out here is the kind of the scope and the ambition of a closer working relationship. And there's only one takeaway to be had. I know a lot of us have memories of what federations have looked like, over the last decade or so. James and team have our complete support, and we look forward to the positive impact they will have on the wider community as they grow from strength to strength in the years ahead, and we look forward to helping however we can.
Thank you very much, Giles. It's very much appreciated your support, and some exclusives in there that I think people may not have heard. So exciting news for 2023 and beyond. Ballot results. We're going to just move towards the end of the AGM now. These were taken at 5 p.m. today, but overall, everyone passed the 4 resolutions. We had 29% voter turnout, and we had 237 voters. So voting was open to 8:15 p.m. So we will update this with the final results, and we'll share that for everyone to see. But thank you all for taking the time to vote. I'm going to pause and just to see if there was any member questions. We are running tight on time. We may run over by 5 minutes. I do appreciate if people need to drop. We're going to do member questions and then the ultimate season pass. So for people in the draw, they may want to hang around. But Lindsay, do we have any questions on the chat or?
Nothing that hasn't been answered already by the team. There's no other questions that have come through tonight. So no, everything's been answered already.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, I think one thing I wanted to say is anyone involved with British Obstacle Sports, whether on the board or a committee, all the volunteers or even just members are all really open to conversations. Have a concern, have a comment, have feedback, reach out to us, whether you're an individual athlete, an event, a training centre, a coach, whoever you are, a partner. We want to chat, we want to grow our sport. So do reach out and speak to us. This is very much a community organisation, a community federation to grow our sport together. And yeah, I think just to pause with a brief thought on 2023, we really, really are now close to starting our pre-application. Hopefully you've seen today a lot of hard work from all the volunteer team at British Obstacle Sports. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to a very successful year. 2023, I maybe thought this in 2021, but I think I was a bit naive when I first got involved. And then I was like, this is a very long road ahead to get us to the pre-application stage. I can see us, we're on the precipice of getting to our membership target and starting our pre-application. And I think hopefully from there, things will snowball and the full application will come together and we can be at a stage of a formal recognition. We can get funding into our sport. Community clubs can access funding. It doesn't just mean that British Obstacle Sports would access funding. Community clubs can access funding. People like Dan Titcombe in the army can access funding to support his athletic development. He can't currently because OCR isn't recognised. And I'm sure there's many people within our sport on the Ninja side, on the OCR side, who would benefit from that formal recognition. So thank you for your support there. I'm going to jump onto the Ultimate Season Pass and firstly just thank all these amazing events and training facilities who have supported the Ultimate Season Pass. It's a fantastic prize across the country. You'll be essentially racing and training for free. There's various conditions on the website the person wins, but basically you're going to be very busy next year if you win this. Phil Cruikshank won this last year, and I know he was able to attend many events around the UK. Before we draw the winner, I wanted to give a shout out to Wendy, Mike, and Scott. These 3 were the people that essentially won the most tickets through referring people to British Obstacle Sports and supporting what we were trying to achieve. So thank you to these 3. These are all the tickets. And I think there was a few more that was added actually right at the end. So right at the end, they're not on this list, but they are on the ticker. So hopefully, this is always the bit that, right. Can people see a spinner? Getting a thumbs up. All right. So one lucky winner. Spin. Jasper Birch. Congratulations, Jasper. You are the winner of the Ultimate Season Pass. We will be in touch with details on how to claim your prize, but you are very lucky to win that, and I wish you a fantastic 2023 of racing around the country. We also had 21 junior prizes. You'll be glad to know I'm not going to spin 21 times. They were kind of a lesser value, so I did draw these earlier through an Excel spreadsheet. But these are your winners of the junior prizes. Again, thank you to all the events that supported our junior prizes around the country. We will share this so everyone can see, but you've won various prizes. Hopefully, if there's one event that maybe one person can't get to, another person can't get to, you can exchange, etc. But some fantastic races around the country for people to enjoy next year. The Ultimate Season Pass will return in 2023. So Jasper has won next year's Ultimate Season Pass, so a season pass worth over $2,500 of amazing events and training centres. It's going to return in 2023. Hopefully all the events and training centres will sign up again to it. And we're going to give free kind of ways you can earn tickets to the draw for 2024. You can renew your membership. As we saw earlier, we need everyone to renew their membership to keep going. You can refer your friends and family to British Obstacle Sports, and that will earn you tickets. And you can also give your time. So you can give your time as a volunteer to British Obstacle Sports, and we'll give you information on that. You can also give your time and marshal events. Marshalling is such a critical part of our sport, whether that be a technical official or a marshal for safety and supporting. So we're going to share details on that, but we want everyone to be out and marshalling and supporting. So these are going to be the three ways you can earn tickets to the 2024 season pass. I want to give very quick final thanks to Dan Rose for all his hard work on the website, Lindsay, who's helped today, but also does loads and loads behind the scene, does an incredible amount of support for various committees, Ignacio, who is a fantastic designer and has helped with the junior championship logos and various other logos of and pieces of design work we've needed. Fede, who led the Rabbit team for filming the junior champs, I know gave up time to produce that content for the junior athletes, and Ferg, her partner, who is the data cruncher behind the UK OCR series and will be the Scottish series. Laura, and I didn't add her surname, Baskerville, but she's helping now on the marketing side with promoting a lot of ninja content. Jason Mitchell-Divers, from a partnership perspective, has been trying to help get loads more discounts for our members. Ian Kay is helping on the legal side, and Shelley Tompkins, who's helping sharing your membership numbers, which is currently a manual process, but soon won't be. But Shelley's always there kind of sending those membership numbers. And again, thank you to all the committee members you heard, and the committee leads and the board, everyone involved with British Obstacle Sports in helping us to grow. Thank you to you guys. We didn't do too bad for 155 slides. Hopefully it wasn't too quick. Again, reach out if you need to. But I just wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and excited to see you all in the new year to continue all the hard work and get out having fun and racing around the country. Thank you very much.